Welcome to the Ho Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
Defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting from the Kata Studio, welcome to the Ho Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you guys are doing good. I really do. So this is a special edition episode of the Ho Ho Show. We are going to be talking about, Fight Like Hell is the title of this episode. Now let me give you a little bit of backstory on where this episode came from. Whenever I got done doing the Saturday episode entitled Things Are Heating Up, I was going through going through the show, listening to it, watching it, and, just quality check on it, just making sure things went okay, went smoothly, and just, checking the whole thing, because I on occasion will go through my, shows and just listen to them. And if there's anything I need to fix, different things of that nature, things I need to alter, things I need to pay attention to in the show, give greater concern to, then I can go ahead and do that and fix that. I'm always trying to improve the quality of the show. I'm always trying to do that. So I was looking at that and listening to the show. I was like, that's something that I need to expound on a little bit more. I need to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that subject. It is worth talking about. I'm going to go ahead and do a show based on that. And here we are. Kept listening to it, and I'm like, oh, there's another topic that I kind of need to, cover a little bit more and get into. And that's going to be another episode. And then I started researching. Then I started reading. Then I started writing. And I started typing and reading and writing and typing. I went down a rabbit hole. Now, granted, the show got over at like 9 p.m. on Saturday. I didn't get out of the rabbit hole until around 6 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning. Yes, I spent all night in the studio, not even paying attention to anything, just working on stuff. I almost said something I shouldn't have said. Working on stuff, researching, writing, typing stuff out. And I've got 4 different episodes planned out that we're going to be doing. Hopefully, in the next day or two, I'm going to be releasing these throughout the week. I'm not releasing these all at the same time. It's going to be a throughout the week release. Just kind of keep it flowing, keep it going. But we're doing this episode entitled Fight Like Hell. We're going to be doing another episode that may or may not be, audio only, called Limited Government. That one's going to be interesting. And I also have 2 videos that I'm going to be doing on knowing the Constitution. This is a series that I started sometime in May, I believe, of last year. No, maybe it wasn't last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago. No, I think it was 2020. March or May of 2020. It might have been. Yeah, I think it was about this. So it's been like over a year and a half since I've touched base on this topic. One of those topics for knowing the Constitution is going to be knowing the Declaration, Part 2, transgressions. That's what we're going to be doing. And of which case I went through the entire list, all 29 or 30 of the transgressions that our founding fathers wrote down and, basically accused the king of doing, the things that they were doing wrong to us. And I tell you what, there's some stuff in this video that in this topic we're going to be discussing. And I tell you what, it's going to make your head spin. It's going to make you stop, and it's going to make you think. That is the whole point of this video. It's going to make you stop. It's going to make you think. Be looking forward to that later in the week. The next one is going to be talking about enumerated powers. the 18 powers of Congress that are listed in Article 1, Section 8. And we're going to be touching base on that and kind of getting into that, opening that up for discussion a little bit deeper. That's going to be another episode of Knowing the Constitution. Okay, so those are what to be looking for in this upcoming week. All these different episodes outside of the normal Saturday show. Be looking for these episodes. I tell you what, I actually am excited to get these done, to do these, to get back into the Knowing the Constitution segment, because I tell you what, I'm learning things too. I really am. I'm learning things because in researching this and trying to do a good job, put good information out there for you, I'm learning stuff too. Things that I knew in my bones, but in some cases wasn't really able to say the words and really do a good job explaining it, because here's the thing, guys, when you're talking, you know what, we're going to scratch that. We're going to leave that in the Knowing the Constitution series. We're going to talk about that then, but let's go ahead and get into today's topic. And that is fight like hell, because ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what the Republican Party, what conservatives, what libertarians, what people whom consider themselves right of center need to start doing. Because I tell you what, I have a lot of respect for the Democrat Party, for those representatives that are in the Democrat Party. I got a lot of respect for them, and I'll tell you why. They fight to progress their agenda every single step of the way. There's a saying out there in politics in dealing with the Democrat Party. And I'm going to butcher the saying, so I'm just going to paraphrase it and be right open about that. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something to the effect of, the Republicans may hold office, but the Democrats hold the power. And that's what we see all the time. Now, there's reasons for that. Because unfortunately, we are most interested as a voter, as people whom aren't plugged into politics, those whom aren't paying attention, those who seem to have better things to do, we don't pay attention. And we don't necessarily vote for an individual. Instead, what we vote for is that person's party affiliation. What letter do they have next to their name? Is it an R or is it a D? 9 times out of 10, you can't tell me what the representative that you're voting for, possibly outside of a presidential election, what they actually stand for. What their platform that they represent is. How do they feel about this? How do they feel about that? Most people can't answer those questions because most people outside of the presidential race don't pay enough attention to be able to have an educated, know anything of what they're talking about. They just don't know. So if they go to the ballot box, they're voting ignorance, and they're voting party politics. That's what you have. Now, here's another aspect about this. Okay? I don't really know which direction I should go with on here first. Because there's a couple different directions that I'm wanting to go all at the same time. You guys know how that goes, But the fact of the matter is, the Democrat voters are different than Republican voters. Okay? They just are. We're different people. For the most part, a Democrat voter is going to get out and vote. That's what they're going to do. That's what they do. A higher percentage of registered Democrats vote compared to the number of registered Republicans. It's just the way that it is. Okay? That's just the way that it is. But there's a reason for that. Okay? Because unlike the Democrat Party, who basically treats the voter as a battery, something to help power the machine, they really don't care. Based off of your religion, your sex, your creed, your color, what have you, they just expect you to vote a certain way. And if you don't, they ostracize you. They demonize you. They treat you like you're not even what it is that you are. I mean, do you guys remember during the presidential race for 2016, Biden, if you don't know to vote for me, then you ain't black. That's what he said. The Democrats just demand the black vote. They feel as though it's theirs. Your vote doesn't belong to you. It belongs to them. How dare you vote for a Republican? They demonize you. They treat you like crap. They ignore you. I mean, the only time that they really even care about what it is that you want is campaign. But you still get out and you vote for them. Now, in contrast, the Republican, the voters of the Republican Party, we're not like that. We're not like that at all. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Back in 2016, whenever it was Trump versus Hillary Clinton, I didn't get out and vote. Or at least, I know I voted in the primaries. Okay? I know I voted in the primary. And to be honest with you, that was the first time I had ever voted in a primary election. And I voted for Senator Ted Cruz. That's who I voted for. I'm going to be open. I'm going to be honest. It was back in 2016. It doesn't matter now. But I voted for Ted Cruz. That's whom I wanted to be president. And whenever time came for 2016, for the actual presidential race, I did not cast my vote at all. And the reason being, President Trump, then candidate Trump, he hadn't proven himself to me. He hadn't proven himself worthy of my vote. I didn't know if I can trust him. The only thing that I really knew at that point about President Trump was that he was a New York Republican. That's just as bad as saying you are a Florida Republican or a Florida Democrat. It's the same thing. There's not much difference there. I didn't know if I could trust his vote. Now, granted, he was an outlier. He absolutely was. But I knew, because he knew the art of the deal, I know that he understands doing business. There are certain things you got to do in order to have your business in certain places. So he knows how to deal. And I just figured, with his dealings with the Clintons, with him having the buildings that he does and operating the business that he does, doing the You're Fired, the whatever show that was that he was on, okay? I didn't figure that he would truly be a conservative or a Republican actually worthy of my vote. I had no idea. And I didn't trust him to be a conservative. Therefore, I didn't vote. Yes, he was an outlier. Yes, he was a wild card. Yes, he was a joker. But the thing is, he hadn't revealed his hand yet. He may have spoken a good game, but as we have learned as Republicans, you can't trust somebody's lip service. Look at Romney. Oh, he spoke a good game. But what do you see him doing now? Conservatives, we don't really say rhino Republicans all that much, because that you got to explain. Republican in name only. I'm more apt to say a Romney Republican, because that says it all. No need for any additional explanation right there. You know what I'm saying. Somebody whom is a Democrat but puts the R next to his name. Why? Because it'll get him votes from people who don't pay enough attention to actually vote for somebody else or just flat run against them. So in short, the Republican Party, me as a voter, I'm not just going to vote for you because you got the R. You got to prove yourself worthy of my vote. So a Republican is more apt to stay home. And let me tell you this, if it would have been Hillary Clinton against Jeb Bush, it wouldn't have even been close. Hillary Clinton would have won hands down because everybody knew who Jeb Bush was. Everybody knew that, he may come from the Bush family. He may come from that political family, kind of like the Kennedys. He may have come from that. And because he came from that, we knew where he stood on issues. We knew where he would compromise. We knew what we could and couldn't trust him with. We knew who he was. Would people have gotten out to vote knowing that there wouldn't be that much of a difference between the Republican candidate of Jeb Bush and the Democrat candidate of Hillary Clinton? There wouldn't have been much difference at all. We know this. And one of the things that Trump did in 2016 is he got people to come out and vote. People whom had never gone out and voted before. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm 42 going on 43. 2020 was the first time I'd ever voted in a presidential election. It's not to say that's the first time I voted, but actually cast my vote for a presidential candidate, the first time I had ever done it was 2020. The first time I voted for a primary candidate was in 2016. The first time I had done that. Not the first time I voted. Not the first time I went in and put my name or, filled out them circles on the ballot box. Not the first time I'd ever done it. I've done that more than once. But the first time I voted for a president, why? Because I knew who he was. I knew what he represented. I knew how he was going to govern. In short, he proved himself worthy of my vote. And there's a lot of people like me out there. That I'm not just blindly going to follow you because you got your R next to your name. Now, here's a problem, though. Now, this is the thing that Trump did during his presidency, is he showed the American people that, yes, you can fight. Because what we hear all the time as a voter, they come out in during campaign times and they make all these promises. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to go do this. We're going to do that. They do this resolution bill that is nothing more than if I get the opportunity, I'm going to do such and such. They did this in talking about the repealing Obamacare. Okay, they did some type of a resolution. And what does that resolution do? Not a damn thing. Pardon the language, but it doesn't do jack. It doesn't do diddly. It is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Because whenever the time came, whenever they controlled the House, they controlled the Senate, they had the presidency, all they had to do was put the bill out there and Trump would have signed it. What did they do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And say what you want about President Trump's Twitter feed. That man got the job done like no other president has ever done in modern history. Even including Ronald Reagan. Yes, he did a better job at advancing the conservative movement, the conservative agenda, actually standing up for the voters of the party more than any other president, including Reagan. Now look, I'm not dissing Reagan. Reagan was an amazing president. He did some good things. He still did some screw-ups, but he did some good things. But President Trump governed better. And President Trump was able to accomplish virtually every single thing that he sought out to accomplish. Everything that he was able to do, single-handedly, he was able to do. Now, there was limitations. He wanted to get more stuff done. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to. Why? Because that would have, required some cooperation with the House and the Senate. But unfortunately, he has been fighting everybody since day one. He's been fighting the deep state. He's been fighting, these bureaucrats, these unelected people in Washington that write the rules, that write the regulation. They make all the rules. They enforce all the rules. These are the ones that if they want you to go down, they will try everything that they possibly can to ensure you're going to go down. And this ball started rolling, this wheel started spinning before President Trump ever became president. We know this. It's not a question, it's an answer. It's a very clear answer. We know this already. It's not even up for debate. So the president did everything that he can do, minus anything that had to get done with the help of Congress. He was able to do it all. He was able to do it all. President Trump showed that you can fight. You can push back. You don't have to just take the beating that the Democrats want to dish out to you. You should fight back. And the people that you represent will stand behind you every single step of the way. We showed the president, we got your back. Conservatives, people like me, people like you, we got your back. We know what you're doing for us up there. We got your back. And the president's shown us that if you want it, fight for it, you'll get the job done. Now, the problem is, with these other Republicans out there in Washington, it really made them look like crap. Because all you hear is excuse after excuse after excuse. You give them the Senate. What are we supposed to do? We don't have the House. What do you expect us to do whenever all we control is one half of one branch of government? What the hell are we supposed to do? So we gave them the House as well. What do you expect us to do? We don't have the presidency. What do you expect us to do? I have no idea what we can do. It's not like we got the president. So what if we write a bill? So what if we come up with this awesome piece of legislation? It's not like it's going to go anywhere. It's not going to get signed into law. What's the point? Why try? It's not like we have it's not like we can do this. So you give them the House. You give them the Senate, you give them the presidency, and then they come back with, well, what do you expect us to do? I mean, yes, we control the entirety of Congress. Yes, we have the presidency. Yes, we have 2/3, but we don't have the Supreme Court, and we don't have a super majority to where we can just push this stuff through Congress without pushback from the Democrat Party. And everything that goes on in Washington is about compromise, 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 to the point to where even if Republicans have both the House and the Senate, the Democrats are still able to ram their agenda through. They're still able to do it because they will not cease. They will not stop fighting, never. Even when the Republicans have the majority, the Democrats hold the power because they know how to fight. Because what the Democrats do is they start off on the offensive. They make the Republican Party play defense. That's what they do. They call us names. They do this, that, and the other, and all we do is we recoil from it. Oh, please don't beat me. Please don't hurt me. Please don't do this to me. Instead of doing a bait and switch, instead of doing a Kansas City shuffle, instead of doing a dodge and jab, instead of doing something to get out of the way or just take your punches. But the most important thing that Trump taught us to do and made the Republican Party look terrible because they don't is he fought back. He changed the game and he played it against them. He used the mainstream media as puppets. And he did it perfectly, and they hated him for it. Trump showed us that we can fight and get the job done and not just push back the Democrat or not just stop the Democrats, the Democrat agenda dead in its tracks. We can push it back. That's what President Trump shown the American people. That's what he's shown the conservatives. That's what he's shown the Republicans, the libertarians, people whom are right of center, people who believe in the sanctity of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. That's what he's shown us. And the Democrats, the deep state, the do nothing Mitt Romney, Rhino Republican did, they hate him for it because they don't do jack diddly squat in Washington. They go up there for the prestige. They go up there because, truth be told, now here's the problem, okay? This is the problem with what we're dealing with right now. The problem is, yes, we have a republic. We do, technically. Yes, we have a representative, constitutional republic. Yes, we do. Technically. We may vote for our representatives in office, if you want to call them a representative. But here's the thing. These people that you vote for in office, they don't represent you. They represent the party. And the party has an agenda of its own. There's not a big difference between a Democrat and a Republican when you're talking the party. When you're talking the quote unquote representatives. There's not much of a difference there. There's really not. We were warned by our founding fathers. It might have even been Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson or George Washington. I don't remember who it was, but they flat warned us. Do not fall for the two-party system. Because if you do, if you allow that to take hold in politics, the people will lose because people are going to do nothing more than vote for a party affiliation. They are not going to vote for a person. And that's what you see happening time and time again. Because here's the thing, guys, okay? They don't represent you, they represent themselves. Because the RNC, the DNC, they're not beholden at all to government. It's not a function of government. It is a private business. That's like Facebook. You know, Zuck Zuckerberg actually going into and running for president on his own. Not having any affiliate link whatsoever to any political party. Privately owned, privately owned business. There you go. It's not a function of government. Not beholden to the government. You have two businesses that are in total control of government from top to bottom. Yeah, they may have a stronger hold in places the farther up you go, because that's whenever the Republican Party, that's whenever the Democrat Party, that's whenever they really start paying attention to what's going on. When you're talking the lower levels, you know, they may spend a little bit of money just to ensure that they get somebody in that is at least going to advance their agenda, but they're not going to spend a lot of money there. They're really not. I mean, if they have to, they can. You know, they might throw some money in it just to throw a monkey wrench into the gear just to see what happens, just to see how many cogs fall out. But the fact of the matter is, you have a private business that is not beholden to government, not restricted, controlled by government whatsoever, that is in control of government from top to bottom. And you have people that are too blind to see and understand that these people whom we send to Washington with the sole express purpose of them to represent us, they don't represent us. They represent themselves. They represent the RNC and the DNC. They don't give two shits about you. That's the bottom line. We need to fight like hell. If these people are going to expect our vote, then I, for one, demand they stop going to Washington and playing patty cake. Stop going to Washington and playing Red Rover. Red Rover. Send Biden on over. Don't you dare go to Washington to just play the game. Because, as Ronald Reagan said, this is the last bastion of freedom. If America falls, where the hell are you going to go? There's nowhere to go. This is it. Nowhere to go. This is the last stand right here. Custer's Last Stand. I think that's the name that I may or may not be getting right. But this is the last stand. This is it. There is nowhere else to go from here. If we don't do it, if we don't demand that these people actually honor their oaths of office, take it seriously, we need to remove them from office. Now, look, I'm not talking about war, not right now. I ain't talking about that. We still have an opportunity here. We still have an opportunity to remove them people from office. Get Trump back in there and let him shake the stinking boat. Stir things up. Get rid of the political class. Get rid of the deep state. Start dismantling the executive branch. The president of the United States has the ability to dismantle this thing from top to bottom. Yes, the Congress may approve the funding of these branches of government, but it's the president that employs them. They are supposed to serve at the pleasure of the president. But as the CIA and the FBI demonstrated that they don't work for whom they don't want to work for. They work for the deep state. They demonstrated that because even though the president was in office, it was the Clintons who had the power. Are we forgetting about the Steele dossier? Did you forget? Yeah. And if they are not going to be the change that you want, that you need, that you demand in Washington, it is up for people to step up and be the change. Look, I would love to run. I would. It'd be fun. I'm a truck driver, just like that gentleman out there in New Jersey that ran for state legislation. My problem is I have a hard time with stupid. I really do. I have a hard time with it. I have a hard time debating with somebody whom just doesn't get it. I'm not going to compromise with somebody whom is demanding that I break my oath of office and violate the Constitution, like with amnesty, allowing illegal aliens to flood across our southern border. This is unconstitutional. This is a violation of my oath of office, and you just want me to sit back and do nothing and accept it, compromise on that? I can't do that. I can't. Don't expect me to, because it ain't going to happen. I can't run. I can't do it. I can't do it. And the ignorance of some of these people, it amazes me. There was a hearing that I heard about, and I tell you what, I didn't actually hear this hearing. Okay. It was a congressional oversight hearing. I don't remember if it was in the Senate, House of Representatives, whatever. I have no idea. But you had a representative that was talking to like a 3 or a 4-star general. And one of the things that he was saying, and I don't have any idea, I don't remember what island this was, but you had an island and you had a military base off to one side of the island. And the congressperson said, with a straight face, because he was serious as a heart attack, we need to be careful on how many troops and how much equipment we have over here on this island, because our military base is only on one side of it. So, I mean, if we put too much stuff over there, the island could capsize. You know, we need to make sure that we're not at risk of capsizing the island. And this is a representatives. This was a representative who is supposed to be somebody whom, when they get back home, they're the smartest guy in the room. This is the person who went to Washington to represent you in your district, your interests in Washington, D.C. Your representative, who doesn't understand that a boat and an island are two very different things. And I did watch the end of that video, the reaction that the general had. And I am shocked. I am astonished. I am amazed that this general was able to hear that question, give a response on microphone, and keep a straight face. Guys, I tell you what, that would have been difficult for me. It really would have been. And these are the people who represent us in Washington. I don't know if this representative is still in Washington, but holy crap. If you don't like that level of representation, vote for somebody else. If you don't like that level of representation and there's nobody to vote for, then be the change. Be that representative that you're looking for. I can't do it because I can't compromise with stupid. Just can't do it. Well, guys, I do appreciate y'all stepping by. I am assuming that I am going to post this episode on Monday. There will be one coming out on Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to skip Thursday and probably go on Friday. And then there will be the normal regular show, hopefully on Saturday. Next week is going to be a little bit crazy. I don't exactly know what's going to go on. Things have been going on at work. Things are kind of in a shuffle right now. So, I'm hoping I'll be able to get back for Saturday's show. If not, I'm going to reschedule that for Sunday. So, guys, that is all I got for you today. Y'all just have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you very much for tuning in. And actually, before we go, let me know what you think as far as what change we need to see in Washington, D.C. to right the ship, to make sure that the island doesn't capsize. What would you like to see come out of the Republican Party in 2022 with the midterm elections, in 2024 with the presidential elections? What would you like to see come out of Congress, the House of Representatives, the senators? What would you like to see come out of there? I actually am curious. So if you guys are listening on Spreaker, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. If you are on one of the other myriad of podcast locations where podcasts can be found, you guys can hit me up through email, hoho@thehohoshow.com. Otherwise, if you guys are watching on YouTube, which if I end up posting on YouTube, that's where it will be. You can also go to Ho at thehohoshow.com. There is a contact me section there at the bottom of the screen. That's all I got for y'all today. Y'all have yourself a great one. Until next time. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpikle.com. Until next time.